Today, we're talking about a really weird quirk in how we think. It's a kind of mental glitch that makes us chase this idea of zero risk, even when it's actually the worst choice. Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get this, let's start with a little thought experiment. I want you to imagine you're a public health official, and you've got a really tough decision to make.
So, you've got limited resources for a cleanup, and the goal seems simple, right? Just save as many people as you can. But as you're about to see, the choice isn't nearly that easy. Okay, here are your choices. Take a look. Options A and B, well, they both get the same result, 6 fewer cases of cancer. Pretty good. But then there's option C. Now notice, it actually saves fewer people overall, only 5. But, and this is the key part, it does something really tempting. It completely wipes out the risk from site Y. It takes it all the way down to 0. So, what's your gut telling you? Which one would you choose?
All right, so what do you think happened when researchers posed this exact same problem to people in a study? The answer is, well, it's pretty surprising. Get this, a staggering 42% of people chose option C. Yep, they went with the option that saved fewer lives. And why? Just because it was the only choice that took the risk at one of the sites and just poof, made it disappear completely. This strange preference has a name, and it's a well-known cognitive bias. It's called the zero risk bias. It's this pull we have, this almost instinctual desire to just totally eliminate a threat, to wipe it off the map for good. And here's the really important thing to understand. Our feelings about risk can totally steamroll our logic. That sense of satisfaction you get from hitting 0, it just feels so much better than the more logical goal of, actually saving the most lives. But why, though? What is it about that absolute 0 that's so powerful? It can literally make us choose a worse outcome. What's happening inside our heads? Well, it turns out it taps into some really deep-seated psychology. I mean, think about it. Who doesn't love the feeling of a total win, right? That feeling of knowing a problem isn't just reduced, it's just gone. There's something incredibly appealing about not having to worry about a thing anymore. Yeah, there's a line from the research that just nails it perfectly. It says, "The removal of worry also has utility." And what that really means is that our brains see peace of mind as a real, tangible benefit. It's something we're actually willing to pay for, even if the price is a less optimal result somewhere else. Okay, so this isn't just some quirky thing that happens in a lab. Let's look at how this bias shows up in the real world, where it shapes policies that affect millions of us and, yeah, costs billions of dollars. Right, so this isn't just a hypothetical puzzle. The exact same thinking that led people to choose the less effective option in our little scenario, it pops up in huge, real-world policies about our health and our safety. A classic example of this is something called the Delaney Clause in the US. It was this law that basically demanded absolute 0 risk. It banned any food additive that had any link to cancer in animals. We're talking even if the actual risk to humans was something tiny, like 1 in a billion. And you see the same thing with environmental cleanups. For these big, hazardous waste areas, these Superfund sites, the goal is often a perfect 100% cleanup. And that can be astronomically expensive and take forever, often for smaller and smaller gains. So here's the big problem, right? We only have so much money, so much time, so much attention to go around. And when we get obsessed with completely eliminating these smaller, maybe more manageable risks, we can end up totally neglecting the bigger, more complicated problems, the ones where we could actually make a much bigger difference. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. What's the fundamental flaw in our thinking here? What's the glitch that makes 0 seem so special to our brains? It really comes down to how our brains look at numbers. We get way more hung up on proportions, percentages, than on the actual absolute differences. Getting rid of 100% of a small risk just feels more complete and satisfying than, say, getting rid of 90% of a much, much bigger risk. This chart really lays out the trap perfectly. Just look at this. On the right, you take a risk from 20 people down to 0. That's a 100% reduction, you save 20 lives, and it feels like a total victory. But now look at the left. You reduce a risk from 100 people down to 20. That's only an 80% reduction. It feels less complete, right? But you just saved 80 people. That's 4 times as many lives. See how our brains get totally tricked by the percentage? And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Now that you know about this bias, you kind of have to ask yourself, where else in life are we, or maybe even you personally, choosing the expensive comfort of perfect when good enough would actually be, well, a whole lot better?